Yo,
Yo.
I'm going. Victory or death! Ruktar Ogar! I choose death!
And welcome everybody. Oh, yikes. Already scuffed. Welcome everybody. Oh, scuffed again.
At least the nameplates are right this time, so that's good.
The nameplates worked out. Hang on, we got a couple things showing. There we go. Welcome to Hardcore Modcast number 3. Everybody, the hardcore community, good to see everyone here. We're almost at 100 viewers. I'm glad to see that we've got a live community while we talk about current updates and things that have gone on during this week. And yeah, it's good to see everyone. It's nice to meet up with Kargoz, Nomnom. Normally I'm in their streams and hardly do we get to talk face to face, so it's cool to all come together. And I'm hoping that we can tackle some current events, some things that happened last week, and where the health of the hardcore community is. If anybody has any burning questions that they've had this last week, I know we've had some hot topics like an FAQ coming up. Just for reference, we've also had like Blizzard ticket GM verification. That's been a hot topic this week, but in the hardcore duo tournament coming up on the 26th. So we got a lot to talk about. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Kargoz, Nomnom, hardcore still kicking. Quick update on just your hardcore characters and what you're doing with hardcore at the moment.
Go right now.
All right, yeah, Warrior's still kicking. 43. I'm just trying to grind out my mount right now. And then I did play a little bit on my hardcore mage that hit 60. I was able to buy my epic mount yesterday, so that's a little outside the normal hardcore thing, but that was pretty cool to buy epic mount. So, but yeah, just grinded on the warrior. So everything's been good.
I've been playing on the paladin again. I put the priest on pause at 30, so I'm done with him for a bit. Shelved him. And we jumped into SM as a group, which is really fun doing SM with Kigo and Nam, and Winky was there, and Tactics was there as well. So pretty much got all the boys together, did SM the other day, had some spicy moments. That was fun. So my pally's parked at 44. I'm waiting for the group to catch up a little bit. Then we'll do ZF and Mara and all that other good stuff. But plan is to do all of the dungeons, including Stratholme, Skolo, BRD, Sunken Temple, you name it. And then, sort of while I'm waiting for them to catch up, Grays and I started a duo yesterday, which was so much fun, man. So which will probably continue later. So happy to be here, man.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody else, what's everybody's hardcore character sitting at in the chat right now? Just as I give my introduction, I want to know where everyone else is. But yeah, I lost my 4th mage at level 24. Or I was actually level 25. Me and Chicken Basket, we did a 2-man mage run through Wailing Caverns and made it all the way to the last boss. Honestly, the death clip's embarrassing to look at, especially for all the mage mains out there. I know you're just shaking your head if you saw the clip. I had Cold Snap on cooldown. Feels really bad. But yeah, I lost another gnome mage, and I was really dreading. So I take the weekends off. I was dreading rolling another gnome mage. It's not necessarily my go-to. I'm pretty new with it. I'm still learning, but it's been fun. But yeah, we started duos yesterday, Kargoz and myself, and believe it or not, I rolled a druid again. So I got Tauren druid, and it's different. You know, it's not just a solo leveling challenge like I did previously, like the last 6 months that it took me to get to level 60 on a Tauren druid. It's different being in a duo environment. So I'm looking forward to that. Also with the duo tournament coming around, it's fun to kind of get in the duo mindset. I think for the next 2 weeks, I'm just going to be doing duo content with people and probably give the solo hardcore runs a rest just for a moment. But yeah, man, we got. I see a 47 lock, a 43 shaman. We got some high levels getting up there. But let's do a quick introduction on the level 60s that we had this week. Okay, hang on.
The level 60s. Yeah, you talked about it yesterday on the. Yo, shout out to was anybody who here in the chat was here yesterday for the F's and chat, dude. That was a big success, man. You guys crushed it. That was so much fun. You talked about the 60s there yesterday. I think it was Idle Time, Voivod. There was another one too. I think there was 3, right? Somebody in the chat will know. But
Jamin.
Of course, yeah, Jamin. But the thing is, man, like you never know how those kind of things will go because first of all, how do you get good enough clips? Second of all, how do you stretch it out so that it takes over, you can really keep things funny and entertaining for hours and hours of watching clips, right? And like, do you even have enough clips? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and there's only one way to find out is to try it. And Winky gave it a shot yesterday, and it was just phenomenally well done. So I can't wait for the next one, man. You killed it too. And Grays, your laugh is 100% essential to the success of that show, man, because your laugh is probably one of the most infectious laughs I've ever heard.
Yo, the F's in Chat podcast went really well. It went super well yesterday. Yeah, so that's one thing I wanted to cover. What did we do? So last that we left off, last week we talked about an event board. We talked about dungeon level requirements. We talked about an FAQ, and we talked about duo tourney rules. And I'm really proud to like present that we have the event board rolling in the Discord right now. So if you look at the top, it's one of the last things below the announcement section. But we're trying to make the event board a thing. We've been doing it for 1 week so far, and I think the events that we had this week were Voivod and Jamin hitting level 60. Chicken Basket and myself doing a 2-man Wailing Caverns run at level 24, 2-man mage, and then we've got the F's in Chat podcast, which was a huge success last night. For a pilot episode, it went really well, like you guys said, and it's really cool too. I'm glad to see more members of the community getting involved and producing hardcore content. It really feels like the ecosystem that we're in is growing, and it's not just a couple content creators, Kargoz, like you've said in the past, but everybody's got a hand and a leg in this project, and so it feels really authentic. It feels bigger than life, having more people involved in these events. So I'm really excited that we've got a second podcast alongside this Modcast, which is more like a breaking news and showing highlight clips, highlight reels, death clips. It really kept me up to date on what's going on in the community right now. So yeah, if you guys didn't check that out, Winkypotamus, I should have a link for that. But anyways, so last week, the dungeon level requirements, we didn't come to a consensus on whether or not we were going to take out the minimum level requirement. I think that maybe we should come up with that the week before the duo tournament, which would be next week, or the week after, and just get that rule set finalized, whether or not we're going to take away the minimum level requirement. I think we're all set on the max level. The FAQ, it's still in works. If anybody wants to go to the Discord and help me out big time, all the mods were chipping in on how to make the FAQ together. I think Alinia, one of the mods in the hardcore community, she was talking about making a hardcore wiki up possibly, and so getting a fleshed out frequently asked question would be great, just to refer all the questions, refer people that have questions to this board. So if you go look in the feedback section, I added like a general list, and if you want to add on and help us out there, hopefully we'll have a finalized FAQ before the duo tournament next week.
For sure, that FAQ is going to be huge. Also, a few updates with the community, guys, just to like speak out loud here. We've had some milestones this week. We got a bunch of the growth on the Discord has been going up again, which is good. We got the level 2 on the Discord, which is awesome. So we get the cool banner now. We uploaded a bunch of emotes. Just got a new process in place for verifying 60s, which has been working out pretty good. I got Platinum WoW working on a horror trailer, like a horror movie trailer for hardcore, which is going to be exciting. Another thing that we're going to probably be announcing soon, guys, is a competition for a hype trailer, like a $500 competition or something like that, to get people making hype trailers, because I think that's going to get everybody's spirits high, and this is going to be fun to watch and do all that. So that's coming up. The cup's coming up. There's some other stuff I was going to say. Oh, I had some notes too, man. Like, just bringing up the whole Light of a Loon Hearthstone on stream. I don't think we ever talked about that too. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to want to ban it, but we never really brought it up to the community before.
I was talking about it in my chat. Yeah, I mean, I think it should be banned, but I think this is the first time we've all talked about it together, so I guess we can kind of see what everybody thinks.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't know what that is, it's an item only on Alliance that's a one-time use, and it pretty much will completely ignore the game world. You use it, and there's nothing that can stop it from happening, apparently, right? Like, unless somebody, speak now or forever hold your peace. But if you use Light of a Loon, there's no mechanic out in the open world that can prevent you from doing that and basically becoming invulnerable and hearthing out of that situation. Now, you may think to yourself, oh, that's not so bad, it's only a one-time use, but I see the main issue with that being that it kind of just buffs Alliance in hardcore. Like, so if you're making the decision between playing Horde or Alliance, if on the Alliance side, they have Light of a Loon, I mean, you're kind of doubling your chance to complete the challenge, right? So it almost seems like a no-brainer to ban, but again, I just want to bring it out there and make sure there's nothing we're missing, right? As far as like, can something scuff it or.
Sure. If anybody doesn't know what item we're talking about, it's right here. It should be in the middle of the screen. Light of a Loon. It's similar to Bubble, right? It's a 10-second, grants immunity for all damage and spells. I thought that Hearthstone was a 10-second cast as well. So you can barely sneak that in there, right? And it's basically a Bubble Hearth. It's a one-time use. This is an Alliance quest reward.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know what everybody thinks about it. Somebody I heard last week, well, I think maybe someone was talking about it in our chat, they said this is comparable, it evens out the Horde and Alliance power creep side. So the Horde, they get 10 really sticky glues, and sticky glue traps your enemy in place for like, is it 10 seconds? And I think it can get broken out of, but you get 10 sticky glues and then you get 1 Light of a Loon on the Alliance side. So I don't know, how do you compare those two? Do we ban really sticky glue, or does...
No. I mean, sticky glue can fail. It can be resisted.
Yeah, it can be resisted. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't, because like the interaction between a Loon and it's essentially a Bubble Hearth. It's just a Bubble Hearth, and I just don't think there's anything that can stop it, right? So if there's nothing that can stop it, right? In the same reason, like, of course, it feels bad to try to ban this or that, and it's always kind of a little cringe saying this is banned, but anything that's going to 100% remove you from danger with no chance of scuffing it, you might as well just get rid of it, right? Just make the challenge a little harder. Even the people that want to play, I'm leveling under Paladin right now. It's not like I'm missing Bubble Hearth. I just have to play better and have better game sense to it. Like, would anybody actually play Paladin for the Bubble Hearth? Maybe they would. I don't know.
Well, what if you didn't Hearth with Light of a Loon? Would you still ban the item? Could you use Light of a Loon and have a 10-second immunity, but you don't Hearth out of the situation, so that's okay?
Yeah, like it's just the interaction of Light of a Loon Hearth, just in the same way you can bubble, right? You can bubble with Pally, it's no problem, but yeah.
Yeah, that's something. Does the community feel some type of way about it? Don't ban it, just ban Bubble a Loon Hearth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think we're talking about. We're not banning the item, just banning the Loon plus the Hearth.
So the first thing that comes to mind is, how are we going to monitor this? And playing the videos at like 5x speed, somebody could squeeze it in there, but if you were to Bubble Hearth, I would imagine it would get picked up, just because you'd go from a questing zone, or you'd be in danger, and then you would Hearthstone all of a sudden. You'd end up in an in. And so I think that it would be able to be monitored. But
yeah. I mean, just in the same way that you'd have to monitor Bubble Hearth. I mean, they're just kind of interchangeable. Tommy's saying straight up banning Hearth in combat, but the thing is, I actually like Hearthing in combat. If you remember that whole sheep, Hearth that Sonya did, that was kind of a clever play. The sheep can heartbeat. And if you're not fully invulnerable, I mean, it's a 10-second cast. How are you going to prevent something from connecting with damage on you for 10 seconds while you're in combat? It would have to be some clever use of game mechanics, like maybe you're up on a ledge, you pull too much, you jump down and Hearth out, and you barely make it out in the nick of time. That sounds kind of fun to watch, fun to play, and I don't know. That's with regard to just banning Hearth in combat. Also seems too micromanagey to me. I don't know.
Yeah, banning Hearth in combat, I just, again, looking at it from a mod perspective of trying to monitor that, it'd be nearly impossible. But yeah, it does create unique gameplay. Like, you can jump off a ledge and make the mod, or you can make the mob run like an extra long route in order for you to get that 10-second cast off. But
yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, we can straw poll it or something. I mean, I have a feeling it's going to be 99% of people saying to ban it, but maybe not. I'll make a straw poll real quick just for Light of a Loon. So the other thing is, we brought it up last podcast, and we've had about a week to think about it and let it marinate. The whole idea of removing the minimum level requirement on Dungeon Stones too. So maybe we can do another straw poll, see if people change their opinions on that.
Sure, yeah, that'd be great. We can get those 2 polls rolling. Also, so this is something we've been talking about recently is, well, let's answer the questions first, but recently everybody's been talking, let's go into this next. Level 60 GM confirmation. A lot of people there's been a lot of level 60s recently. Whenever I say a lot, I mean 4 to 5 people, and out of those 4 to 5 level 60s, they've had trouble getting a GM to verify their level 60 achievement. And so they're creating Blizzard tickets, and the GMs are telling the players that they can't, they don't have access to the amount of deaths that they had. And so some of us that have hit level 60, we've already gotten a GM to verify our 0 deaths, but we're running, it's becoming a problem at this point. And so the more level 60s that we have, I don't know if we're going to have Blizzard be able to verify future level 60s in the future, and we're looking at alternatives. Yeah.
I see it as a big draw, personally. I know people say maybe it's giving the GMs a hard time or something. There's a struggle, by the way, guys. But I see it as a big draw. Like, if I'm from the outside looking in, like, okay, what is this hardcore thing? How legit is it? Okay, they have an add-on? Okay, that's kind of legit. Okay, they have a site? All right, that's kind of legit. Oh, you're telling me the GMs can verify it too? Okay, I'm in. I feel like some people's thought process may move in that, like, they move like that. So, and the thing is, I think almost everybody, do we still have any people who have hit 60 who have just never gotten the GM approval? I feel like pretty much all of them, they've just kept at it and they've eventually gotten it. This is my opinion. It's not fact, but this is how I feel it works for the GMs. The GMs don't have that data 100% readily available right in front of their eyes and as low-hanging fruit. It's something that they kind of have to put on their GM hat and think a little bit and go, okay, how could I verify this? Let me see what tools I have as a GM. Let me think outside the box a little bit. Let me ask my buddy over in the office over there too, or call them on Zoom, figure it out. But I feel like they can figure it out with a little bit of elbow grease, or whatever the saying is. And the reason I say that is, if you look at a lot of these tickets, they say normally we don't have access to that data, and that's usually not a responsibility. But I was able to find a way to verify it for you. They're structured like that, and I can almost get in that GM headspace and be like, okay, they're having to do something maybe a little wonky to figure it out, but they are able to figure it out. But I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, I got approved, both of mine right away. But I've seen some of us have had to go through 4, 5, 6, 7 different requests. So, but yeah, I mean, both of mine got approved right away. I think Grays, you got yours approved right away, even with your playtime, right? Which is even more information than I think I got on mine.
Yeah, so I actually saw my GM ticket. He said your character's been played for 8 days, 23 hours, 44 minutes, and seems to have incurred 0 deaths at this timestamp. And so we've pieced together a couple of these GM tickets just to kind of get them an idea of what information they have access to. And so, yeah, I didn't have any trouble getting mine. I know that Lenny HC, the guy that had like 2 DCs recently, he couldn't get a GM to verify. I don't think that he got a GM ticket that verified how many deaths he had. And so I'd really like to see the information on that one, to see our first DC level 60 character. We went through his VODs and he actually checked out. He had 2 disconnects, but it would be great to have that GM ticket confirming whether or not he had 2 deaths or not. So something that I don't know how many tickets we've sent into Blizzard, and like if the hardcore community is becoming a nuisance just because we're sending these tickets in over and over, but somebody came up with an idea was to create a Blizzard ticket template for level 60 0 death confirmation. So whenever one of you guys were to hit level 60, or if Kargoz was to hit 60 again, he would submit the default response that we have written out, and maybe that would make it more streamlined and make it more official. Maybe we can get on the good side of Blizzard, instead of having 30 different responses or submissions. Hopefully it can be something that they can get on board with, and that would probably help our case moving forward, and I think that would be a big improvement.
So there are 22 people in the Hall of Legends right now, verified 60s, and this is a community of probably 7,000 or so, close to it. So, a lot of us are thinking, man, maybe it's a dick move to put pressure on Blizzard to try to answer these tickets, but, it's been 20 people or so, and that's, their efforts to do that little elbow grease for 20 people is supporting and keeping the dream alive for 7,000 people or so. And, we're all paying the subs, and I do think that we're good, classic WoW ambassadors for them. Like, we're marketing their game effectively and, keeping their game going and keeping a pulse going for Classic WoW. And I think that they would be happy with our community's existence and stuff. So, and again, I could be smoking, hitting the peace pipe too hard or drinking too much Kool-Aid. I don't know. Feel free to chime in here, but I feel like in Blizzard's eyes, it would be worth it. They'd be like, all right, GMs, I know it's kind of annoying, but just verify their 50 claims or something,
if the GMs, so if we get a month or two down the road and it's like we're not gonna respond to the hardcore community, I think one of the GM tickets I saw, it was like your unofficial game mode, which is true. We're grassroots game mode. We're a part of the community, but if they were to just in 2 months say we're not gonna verify these 0 deaths anymore, it would just be a dagger in the heart. Like I'd almost lose all faith in Blizzard at this point because it's frustrating. This community is the most vanilla thing I've ever seen that's come out of Classic since the game came out a year ago. We're bringing back the integrity of vanilla WoW. I don't know, hardcore. It just, like you said, it seems like a very minimum work for the amount of value that we're adding. You know how many people have said they resub just to play hardcore WoW?
Good amount.
So, I mean, we're bringing
people in the chat. Yeah.
That's
me. I mean, I'd still probably be subbed, but I mean,
I know it's a drop in the bucket to all their microtransactions as a company and as a whole, but bringing back a couple hundred people, a couple hundred subs, just by verifying a few GM tickets that say you have 0 deaths, like you said, doesn't seem like too much effort.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, maybe we could reach out to a CM or something and just like, I don't know, man. Maybe not, but like at some point, maybe if we get bigger and the cup is successful, that maybe we get access to a CM. Because what if we had access to a CM and they're like, look, guys, you don't really understand. My name, maybe this is Kyvax. And they're like, it actually is a massive trouble for us to go find the information. We have to do X, Y, or Z. And then maybe we're like, we just fall back as a community. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, like we got a lifeline with Blizzard. They're letting us know. That's fine. Like our bad. We didn't know that. But just to have that communication with them, I think would be a really good look. Make us feel a little more supported, by them.
Does anyone know how all this stuff works? Like I saw something whenever I was submitting my ticket. It was like you can submit a ticket to like our help desk basically, and for improvements for the game. Has anyone ever seen that work out? Like I would imagine this help desk
Probably
that
not.
people send tickets into, it's a bunch of balance my class, allow me to boost a character in level 60, like a bunch of worthless requests. And so I feel like if we were to even go that route, I feel like it's just like a dumpster that we're throwing our request into. But like you said, if we get big enough, maybe we should try and get into contact with the CM. So that we can communicate better with Blizzard, because we're not only are we using Blizzard servers, but the one service that we're tied to, which really makes us a legit game mode right now, is the GM ticket verification. So
For sure.
I think it's imperative that we stay on their good side and figure that out as soon
And I
as
think the
possible.
reason why you brought this up on the podcast too, Grace, I'm just assuming, is that you saw some people talking about it yesterday in the Discord. Sync Statics was talking about it, and some people were agreeing with him, saying like, I don't think it should be, part of the whole system, the GM ticket.
Sure.
So I mean, there are some people that feel that way, but I do see it as a unique selling point for the challenge. And if you're just like a random Joe Schmo listening to the stream, I don't think any other single factor, aside from, I think that's probably the number one factor. The fact that the GMs themselves, the Blizzard employees, can confirm no deaths. It's
Right.
probably the single biggest pull. I'm guessing.
If I'm from the outside looking in and I go, okay, so my run is verified by this 40 different recording session that I put together in a YouTube playlist, and the Modcast of Hardcore Discord verified me 60 no deaths. I mean, it doesn't sound that appealing, you know what I mean? And who's gonna go in there and verify that you didn't get any deaths? And there's no trophy, and so the GM ticket, it validifies your existence. It validifies why we play hardcore. And it didn't start out like that initially, but it's kind of like the whole steroid thing. Once you get a taste of it, you never want to let it go. Now that we have gotten the GM ticket verification in the past, man, it really feels imperative. I don't know, unless we find another alternative. We still talk about add-ons, and everyone says that add-ons can just be manipulated, all the data and information there. I would encourage a lot of you guys to go check this add-on out, autobiographer, however it's said. Not just as an option or an alternative to the no desk verification, but just to get the mental juices flowing, how can we create an achievement system? Apparently, this is more in line with creating an achievement system than verifying 0 deaths 1 to 60. So if anybody has like any intel on add-ons, or Statics just made a new add-on. Speaking of community development, Statics he got the last world first class level 60. It was a shaman. So Statics, a big member of the community, he created his own add-on which shows the vendor, what vendors sell, whether it's potions, recipes, weapons, armor, and so he created his own add-on for the game. So it's really cool to see the improvements each and every week in hardcore.
For sure, there's been a lot of improvements, and yeah, like you said, that autobiographer and Hardcore Karen just linked me another one, Tail. There's some add-ons that we could hopefully maybe put together into one package. But let me air some things to the community right now. So are we all on the same page that you like pretty much for as long as hardcore is going to be around, are we on the same page that we all need to record either locally or stream it? I wasn't 100% sure on this, and I still am not. But the more and more I think about it, the more and more I lean towards the position that we really should all record or stream. And it is a multi-pronged reason. It's not simply because it provides the most comprehensive level of accountability. It's like having a CCTV camera on every character, and people play different when they feel like they're under the microscope. Even if it's just them examining themselves under the microscope, they're going to play differently, play with more finesse and all that. But two, these clips, the death clips, the highlights, they are truly the blood, the lifeblood of the community. Like, you wouldn't be able to do F's in chat. You wouldn't be able to do Modcast, possibly. Right. We wouldn't be able to have an active Discord, because do you guys have any of the Discords in your Discord right now that's active? Like truly active? You go in there and there's always people talking and there's a sense of community in the Discords. I have literally zero. Even my own personal Discord. So these are the things I think about. And then secondly, to build on that, if we have an add-on that gets more developed and we can put some nice features in there, do you guys see value in saying, down the line, if you're going to play hardcore, not only are you required to stream or record, but you're required to run the add-on. So like every single time you start up the stream or VOD, it would have that pop up, don't forget to record. The only I see value in that, just in the sense that, imagine you're a new player to hardcore and you're giving this a shot. There's a certain level of legitimacy that I feel like would go a long way to them if they're just giving it a shot. And if they log into this game and they see something into their game, like they see the hardcore logo in their game, in their client, it says, remember to record. It may create a stronger perception of playing a different game mode, as opposed to just making it feel more like manual if they just record it. But let me stop talking too much. What do you guys think?
Well, Nom, you've been a big advocate for recording ever since day one, right? Like,
yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think it all needs to be recorded, and I would be fine with down the line having to have the add-on installed. I think there's just something about just the validity it gives. Like, we're playing a different mode, and if people will find a way to cheat otherwise, right? The recording keeps people honest. If you're not recording, someone can be, tagging the mobs with you, healing. There's just so many things people will do. So I think the recording is 100%. For me, that would almost be like a deal breaker. If it wasn't required, the Hall of Legends is pretty much useless. Like, if we can't validate whether you got help or all that stuff, I think it doesn't hold any
Well, I guess where I'm going with that, Dom, while you're still talking, imagine if there was a hardcore server that Blizzard made themselves, right? I still think you would probably have to record, but maybe people would, people might feel a certain way about that. I do see a ton of value here in the community aspect of it with the recording, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's mainly even though it's a solo leveling challenge, the sense of community is strong, right? Everybody feels that we're all supporting each other and stuff. And I do feel the reason that is that we're able to actually see each other's characters and interact with each other's characters, even if we're not in game with them, just by watching them and hearing about them and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think we can. I don't think we even know the value we would lose if we weren't all recording or streaming it. I think the secret sauce is the mixture, like, of everything we have going on.
Well, and so speaking of like lulls and content, I don't know how everybody's been feeling, but like this last week, I saw the most amazing dungeon clip. Who was it? It was Bradley Hank and Super 6. There's a couple other people in there. Like 5 level 45 characters going in to RFD, and somebody about to die and somebody just losing their shit. No, don't die, don't die, don't die. Moments like that you would never capture. And so even whenever there's a lull in content, if everybody's recording their gameplay, there's new things that happen every single week that are just, there's always going to be ups and downs, and the recording is imperative to just keep the conversation going. And that's one thing that I've seen in the hardcore community the last couple months, is there's always new death clips, there's always new highlight clips. Even at the lowest lulls of content, you've always still have something to share. And at the end of the day, we're all still playing the game, right? But it may not be as active,
Right.
so yeah, recording's been good. Let's move on to the last topic that we have. How to keep hardcore fresh. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, great. Yeah, just real quick. There's been a few people asking. Yeah, the quality of the video, it isn't that important at the end of the day. Just 720, 480, just for validation purposes. As long as we can see it, it's fine. Just there's a few people asking. Yeah, it doesn't need to be in HD or anything like that.
Should we be discouraging people who don't record? That's actually a very interesting point to bring up. Should we be discouraging people to play who aren't recording? Here's my initial thoughts on that. I'd say you can't really discourage or try to like be too strong-armed about stuff you can't control. We have, at the end of the day, if somebody wants to, people can do whatever they want. We have no control over other human beings, right? So,
Right.
Like if they're just gonna do what they're gonna do, right? So you can just have to put your best foot forward, be as nice as possible, and try to kind of be as gentle as possible. But I don't know. So some people they want to play, but they don't have the means to record, and they're going to play. So I say just let them. But on that same note, like really be happy when people are recording, kind of, if that makes sense. Rather than discouraging them, like just make it seem really fun. That when you're recording and you're looking at other people's recordings and clips and highlights, it just seems like you're having the time of your life.
Sure.
So like the incentive for them is like, damn, I'm playing hardcore, but I'm not really playing hardcore
like everybody else is playing
hardcore. Like they have these clips and people in their chat, and then hopefully they're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna record. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, I'm with it. Recently, how to keep hardcore fresh. How does everybody feel about hardcore right now? The duo tournament's coming up in a week and a half. I just lost my 4th mage. I'll be honest, I was dreading, it was on a Friday. I lost my 4th mage. I was dreading coming back Monday and rolling another mage, because I'm very much a believer whenever I start playing a class. Like, I stuck with the druid for 6 months. I'm going to stick with the mage until I make it to 60. But yeah, I was definitely feeling a lull in content, going through the quests again. I'm doing a no mage. Something I did differently just to keep things fresh was I didn't quest. This time around, I leveled up from level 5 to 12, almost level 13, just grinding linen cloth. And I got tailoring and enchanting leveled up all the way to where I can make my greater magic wand before I was level 13, so I couldn't even equip it. But I found a new way to play the game other than just questing through the zones. But I mean, even just a grinding adventure, even just grinding at certain levels could kind of get old pretty quick. But how does everybody feel about the hardcore community right now? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you to log in and play hardcore to date, like today? I know in the past it's definitely been a 10, but where's everybody at on the fun meter?
I've seen it tick downwards in terms of engagement on Discord, growth on Discord. We're going up and to the right like crazy. I've seen our first little dip in that up and to the right growth, which, I mean, you can't just go up and to the right forever, right? It's the nature of the beast. But we will go through this hype cycle where it goes up and down. And what I would say, and this is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, guys, let me know how you think about this in the chat, that some of the most fun people have in hardcore is in dungeons. They really enjoy the dungeons, playing with friends, like living that community and the thing is, and some of the best death clips, because we're talking about, the guiding light I've always said, right, great, it's fun to play, fun to watch.
Sure.
Like, it has to meet both those criteria. So it's fun to play in the dungeons. People love the hardcore dungeons. And it's also fun to watch the dungeons. And when it comes to the death clips and the highlights, the dungeon ones really shine. Like, I loved watching that RFD clip the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So with that in mind, maybe at some point down the line, once the dust settles and the hype ticks down a little bit, so people like understand the hype is ticking down a little bit, we can do like a season 2 of hardcore and say, if you want to do dungeons, you have to be under the meeting stone.
Right.
Under the meeting stone. And I know it sounds that it could be a big yikes, and maybe nothing is connecting, everything is getting resisted, but you never know until you try. And maybe we could do a beta test of that to like be the guinea pigs and try to level a group of hardcore characters and do it underneath the dungeon stone to see how much harder it is, or if it's the type of thing where it's like Iron Man hard. It's harder, but in like a stupid way. Like, you know, everything is getting parried and resisted, and it doesn't feel that good in practice. But to buff the dungeons, I think would be a really good way to keep it fresh. And I still think I put myself in that situation. Like, would I run Dead Mines at 16 to get for a shot at a Cruel Bard, to get Chalkies of Westfall, to get Staff of Westfall? Yo, all day.
Yeah.
I will still risk it at 16. I'll go into Dead Mines. Would I, you know? Ask yourself that question. Bone Biter. Yo, you see how powerful Bone Biter is now. Like, even if you have to go under the meeting stone into SM, like, so let's say you tried to do SM at 33, right? Cap. Would you try? I think I would try, bro. I don't know, but I'm not trying to speak for you, but
it just cracks me.
Bone Biter slaps. Yeah, I probably would. Yes.
I asked the question, where's everybody at on a scale of 1 to 10? And I think we got everyone said 10. There wasn't a single, and I think there was 2 7s and 8s because they lost their characters. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And I that's really like motivating to see. I honestly didn't think everybody would be at a solid 10. I'm at like a 7 just because I'm so involved in this, and I lost, you know, I think it's just the nature of like running 4 mages into the ground back to back to back. And then having to roll another mage again. I'm very much a druid player at heart, but I'm at like a 7 myself in terms of just motivation. But I want to talk about if you are feeling this lull in content, how do we spice things up? Because Shadowlands is going to come out. TBC is going to come out in a year. You know, maybe we can be more foreseeing. If we're not tired of the game mode yet, how do we keep the game fresh for years to come? And so what I'm thinking about is, so I'm currently at a 7, but just yesterday, me and Kargoz started dual leveling druids, and it was a whole new world. Whenever I leveled differently on my 4th mage with professions, grinding from 5 to 12, and instead of questing through the zones, that was a breath of fresh air. It felt so good to get my greater magic wand. And I don't know how other games work, but like, I'm assuming in old school RuneScape, can't you level up with like just professions and not necessarily grinding mobs, but you gain levels by doing professions? That's what it felt like, just grinding and working on my professions and doing 0 quests from 5 to 12. So that was interesting. Go away from the traditional questing route, acquiring achievements from 1 to 60. If we did have an achievement system, kill this rare spawn at this level, complete this quest before this level, I think that would keep me engaged for years to come. And then dual leveling. I really found at the end of the day, like, hardcore is a blast as a solo challenge. The dungeons are just the right amount of group interaction that I need to keep myself engaged. But dual leveling, it's been a breath of fresh air.
Dual leveling is insane. Dual leveling keeps it so fresh too, because not only do you have all 9 classes to do on solo, right? And you could even, if we have a prestige system, Nom could level another rogue in a different way and get to level 2 prestige on the rogue. You have all the dual leveling combinations. The thing, just to double down on this, guys, though, like, yo, type something in the chat if you're listening, man, please. Like, people in WoW, when they talk about an expansion of WoW, when they talk about an iteration of WoW, and they say how good, and they're talking about how good it is, 9 times out of 10, they're talking about how good the rating is. They're talking about the end game content. People love the idea of like instanced group, dungeon type, raid type content. They love that, right? So if we were to get the dungeons, I'm talking about even Dead Mines and WC and stuff, we were to get them so hard, where it would truly be like people watching, you know, even like sweaty people, you know, who are playing in high-end guilds are watching this and they're like, yo, this looks really hard. Like you're having to out finesse every trash pack and do weird stuff like manipulate their pathing and stuff. That might be like the best kind of little marketing thing too for the community too. Like when you see a group of people in hardcore doing Dead Mines and they throw that label on there, hardcore Dead Mines, people just feel so overwhelmingly compelled to click on it because they know that they're against such high odds. Like they're going to be fighting Van Cleef, who's like 20 something at 16.
Sure. Yeah, I think I think it would be nuts. So the community events that we have the hardcore community cups, and so like I said, if you are losing some hype between the last tournament and this duo one, these tournaments really are exciting. I know it's been a couple months since we've had one. I'm really looking forward to this one. Jamin's been talking about a level 10 dueling tournament that he's going to put on maybe next week Monday or next week before the duo tournament sometime. Would be amazing, or maybe sometime after that. Podcasts and shows, man. we talked about this earlier, but the F's in Chat podcast that Winky put on yesterday, and I was lucky enough to co-host with Winky. He put together all these death clips and highlight reels, and not only was it fun to just sit back and relax and not necessarily talk about how to grow the community like we're doing right now, and talk about rules and how to improve the game mode. I got to sit back, relax, and be a part of a show. It felt like I was being kept up to date. It felt like I was scrolling through Discord and looking at all the community members' death clips and highlight reels. And so that was a lot of fun to be a part of. And that's content, whether we're playing hardcore or just being engaged with each other. At the end of the day, being together in a community, I think, is one of the pulling factors for just your enjoyment of the game. So it's cool to see new podcasts and shows coming up. Also, this is one thing that I've thought about, and tell me what you guys think about this. If this, I don't want to stray too far away from hardcore. I don't want to turn this hardcore challenge into something that it's not, by adding additional content to the game. Like an achievement system, I think fits into hardcore. We could make it fit really well. But what do you guys think about 2-man dungeon speed runs? Now, me and Chicken Basket, we did 2 mages in Wailing Caverns. I think it took us almost 3 hours to complete, and we died on the last boss. We didn't kill the Murloc boss. But what do you guys thinking? What do you guys think about having an incentive to not only do 2 or 3-man dungeon runs, but to have a leaderboard of the fastest cleared times in there? Because I know whenever I'm watching hardcore dungeon runs, they're a blast to watch. Sometimes they're slow paced. Sometimes, it's pretty much a shoo-in. Whenever you walk in, you know that the dungeon's going to get cleared. But what if we created a game mode that incentivized players to push the envelope, to increase the risk that you're watching live? Does it not become hardcore anymore if we have 2-man, 3-man dungeon speed runs in a hardcore environment? Is it just not hardcore, and should we just call it something else, or is there a place for that in hardcore?
I would say this is perfect for the achievement system, just to slow roll it on so people don't get turned off. Like, we create achievements, but we actually do them, Grace. Like, we have to like lead by example here, in the sense of like, we're going to create these achievement systems, but no one's going to give a shit about the achievement systems until they see people doing it and having fun and getting to see the challenge and stuff like that. So I'm thinking about right now, because it seems like I'm not getting a huge reaction out of the chat, and people are skeptical right now of this. Like, what would be a good name of doing dungeons below the meeting stone? Maybe there's some brandable, cool name, like a hardcore below the meeting stone run. I don't know what it would be called, but even on these druids right now, Gray, I don't know if you're down, but I'm down to try to 5-man group with everyone below the meeting stone, and let's see how that shit is, man. Let's see about, like, what is the RFC meeting stone, man? Like, and there's no gun or rule to our head telling us that we have to do it that way. But if it creates good content, it creates good content. Content is unstoppable. You make some nice content.
I think RFC is 13 to 18, so we could all go in there at level 12.
Yeah.
I think doing a 5-man level 10 RFC would be the nuts. That'd be pretty fun. I remember whenever they had the beta out and the max level was level 10, a lot of us tried to do RFC at level 10, and I couldn't clear it. I actually couldn't clear it. So in a hardcore environment, it would be crazy. Hardcore Conqueror, that'd be pretty sweet.
I think that's going to be the one thing that I'm going to shell for in the hardcore community down the line. Again, like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It's all good. But I do think, and like to Nama's point, you were saying this before too, Nama. You were saying that if dungeons sometimes feel safer than the open world, and dungeons are like our holy grail kind of in this community of being able to play with each other. So it should feel like we're actually applying ourselves to the fullest and really trying to complete this thing and having a genuine sense of fear and challenge in these dungeons. So what is an elegant way of doing that? To buff the risk and buff the reward. So like, doing the dungeons under the meeting stone would be the main, like, the most exciting thing I keep in my mind right now for how to spice things up further. But I don't know, how are you feeling about things, Nam? Because you've been doing dungeons now.
I think it's complicated, but I think the idea of having like harder content, like 2-3-man under the meeting stones, I think it's good. I guess it's risk reward and like recognizing, like, doing it. Like, obviously, like you and Grays, as like bigger like content streamers, it's going to be good for you guys. But where's the incentive just for somebody that's recording, at home, like locally, to run their level 26 guy into Nomergamen. I'm not devil's advocate. I guess I'm more. We need to make sure that there's something that has value, whether it's an achievement system or whatever that would encourage someone to do it. But I think the content would be great. But for me, that would just be my one objection. You know what I mean? So.
Well, I'm saying the incentive would be it would be a rule at some point down the line, but we'd have to test it out first to see if it even feels fun or if it's just too punishing and not fun and it's too much related to it. But I'm saying down the line, like let's say 3 months, 6 months from now, season 2 hardcore, what if that's actually just in the rules? Like you can only do dungeons below the meeting stone. So then now, a lot of people in the chat saying, I like it, but it needs to be thought out. And also, is it worth the risk of dying? Isn't that actually a genuine question you're supposed to answer when you're doing these dungeons? Like, is this actually worth it?
Yeah, not I'm just gonna go. Oh, I'm level 20. Time to go get my crescent staff from Wailing Caverns. It's like, oh no, I'm level 16. Am I gonna band together with 4 other level 16s and go get a crescent staff?
Well, yeah, that was originally. It was misguided hate. It seemed like that I had on dungeons, but as I was like reading guild chat over and over again, it was like, okay, to your point, I'm level 18. Let me go get my Chaucer's of Westfall. It just seemed like it was a shoe-in. And for those items being so overpowered, it's kind of antithetical to like the challenge. So yeah, I'm down for some sort of change, whether it's like a season 2. We would just really need to test it out. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't want it to be so hard that it discourages people from doing dungeons, and then that may in turn discourage people from doing hardcore, right? Because if that's something that they want to do. But I think we can find like a good balance. So yeah, I would be down for that.
Yeah. So Kohan's saying, don't make it a rule, make it an achievement with the leaderboard. And so maybe that's incentive enough. Maybe we'd have to come up with incentives to get people to participate in that. Winky made a comment. He was like, well, a lot of people still haven't hit level 60 yet, and they don't really want to risk their character, doing these dungeon runs. And it's a totally valid point, because
like what Nam said too, man. So if dungeons are the most fun, and it's fun because they're relaxing and you're making friends and nobody's dying, like honestly, why is that bad? That's also what I'm thinking too. Because what if we did do this, right? And you have to go into the meeting stone under level. And what if instead of making friends, you're like fucking at each other's necks, bro, because everything is resisting, and you're like, yo, I'm trying to polymorph, and he just resisted 5 polymorphs, and you're like, you fucking mage, you can't polymorph shit. And people are getting killed left and right, like, maybe I actually hear you now. I'm like, if it was harder, there would be less dungeon groups, and if dungeon groups are fun, then people are having less fun.
Yeah.
Fun to play, fun to watch. So I think about these things. So maybe an achievement system. Having it as an achievement would be good, but yeah,
it's good to talk these things out. It sounds like it needs to start as an achievement system, and that'll be our vetting process, and then we can do seasons in the future. That sounds great. But yeah, what else? Let's move on to the Hardcore Community Cup. There's one point that I want to talk about, Kargoz, is the distinction on whether or not both members have to. So we have our duo tournament coming out on September 26th, not this Saturday, but the following. And one of the rules in contention right now are, do both players have to record, or not record, do they both have to live stream? Because it's a 10-hour event, 1 hour pre-roll, we have an 8-hour event, and then 1 hour for confirmation and awarding. And you really have to have people live streaming. We tried to have local recording, I think, in the first Hardcore Community Cup, and people submit their local recordings then, but they're in that 1 hour time span, local recording, it's not enough. So you need a live stream in order to get verified and participate in this community. But the question is, do both members in the duo tournament have to live stream, or can only one live stream? And then what problems come about if only one person is required to live stream? Can the other person that's not live streaming cheat and get funneled gear? And what are your thoughts on that?
So I try to think about what the most exploitative thing you can be doing is, and the most exploitative thing, if the other person was not live streaming, would be getting gold gear bags stuff like that, right? Because it couldn't even really be mob tagging, because mob tagging, even if there's a level 60 there, it doesn't give you good XP. It's based on how much damage percent you do to the mob. It's not like on private servers where as long as you just tap it, you just tickle it, somebody else kills it, you get a bunch of XP. Also, these early levels, like the speed, like the 1 to 20 speed runs, which is kind of the bracket we're in, they're very streamlined. They're almost like templated type experiences. People know the weapon progression, and it's more about just execution. There's a little bit of RNG there, but if something is off, I feel like it'd be pretty obvious. So like, I'm just asking the chat too, like what would be the most exploitative thing you could do with the other person not recording? Because they have to be getting XP with each other, right? Like the goal is to get the most amount of combined XP between both of you. They're going to be partied at all times. So on one guy's screen, you're going to see the health and mana total of the other dude. You're going to, I don't know how much of an issue it's going to be. And in my mind too, we already announced it like this, so we're just going to have to sleep in this bed that we made,
Sure.
At least for this one. And then in future ones, maybe it is an issue, and we'd have to have both record. But it's pretty templated of an experience. Like your 1 to 20 Nomnom on all the classes, like you're done Moreau, that shit is just execution. Like you've done it a bazillion times.
Right.
How are you going to even cheat that, really? Like
my gut instinct, or like my knee-jerk reaction, is there's money on the line. It needs to be verified. Both parties should be live streaming. That's what initially comes to mind whenever I think about it. But then I just got confirmation that Thick Meta TV, yikes, that one of my players is going to be playing with me, and he actually can't live stream and record at the same time. Which is a terrible example. And so I feel like I shouldn't even have a say in this just because I'm participating in it now. Yeah, that kind of invalidates my reasoning. But then I realized, man, I may not be able to participate if we both had to live stream. But
non-recorder comes fully tooled up with gear and cash for a 1 to 20 run. Thing is, that would be so obvious, though, right? It'd be so obvious. Somebody has like 5 gold, 1 to 20. You're like, what the fuck? Like,
right.
Shows up and he has, some nice gear, or he has full 12 slot bags.
Or the most exploitive thing is getting an extra 40 silver and you have unlimited water, so you're able to drink in between every single pull. I could see that being exploited. Maybe this is something that we could do, is have everybody, if the other person isn't live streaming, they record locally and they submit their run. If they get a piece of the pie, if they get money, maybe they have to submit their 8-hour run in order to get their money prize.
That's a good point, man. Somebody could just open up and do a small, like, here's 2 6 slots and 20 silver.
And because you could buy unlimited water, that would increase your kill time. That would give you a really fair shot. I think maybe you could get away with this, squeezing this in the rule set, Kargoz, is saying if you want a chance at getting money in the prize pool, if you're not live streaming, you have to locally record and submit it, and you'll get your cash after it's verified.
Okay.
Does that work, or is that too much work? Like, I just want to. I know that money being on the line, people are going to be raising pitchforks and torches.
Yeah, I hear you. Maybe we just say everybody records, guys. I don't know. This is actually a really tough one. This is really tough. This is the type of thing that we need a straw poll on, because we need some communities, like firepower, because there will be people saying like, yo, what the fuck? You said that, only one person has to record. Yeah, they're going to get some pushback on that. So it'd be the type of thing that we'd have to, at the end of the day, we're probably going to have to make some mistakes, fall, take a few steps down, take an L or two.
Well,
stronger,
and that's the other thing. Maybe we do just let it go. I'm really into the idea that only one person has to live stream, so that me and someone like Thick Meta can play alongside each other. And so I really see the benefit of only having one person record, because at the end of me and Thick Meta,
I thought of an idea.
What?
One person is recording, and this is not too much of an ask, I would say, because who are the people that are not recording, right? They're going to be like, yo, I have a potato, I'm sorry, I want to be able to record and stream, I just don't have good enough internet, I don't have a good enough computer. These are the people that aren't recording, right? So you say like, okay, man, no problem. But if it's only going to be one person recording, we could say that you need to we could say those people have to like do like a periodic gear gold bags check with your partner, maybe like once every hour, you just inspect their gear and do like a whole overview of their partner to see if they have any gear on. I guess they could put it in their bags, but like we could think about this further and make it in a way where you could do like an hourly quick inspection of the other character, or like an hourly screenshot of all their bags, right? Screenshot. Everybody can screenshot, right? So every hour they have to screenshot all of their bags, and you'd be able to see if there's a mail icon. They'd have to open up all their bags, character pane, screenshot, something like that. You see where I'm moving though in this direction? Like there might be a way to verify the other person through one stream.
Yeah, Tommy's saying you could hide. Yeah, you could go to the city to turn in a quest and then hide your inventory in the bank, take a screenshot, and then go. I like the way it's moving, but it does. It's initially it sounds like more work than it's worth.
Well, how much pushback will we get if we required somebody to record the second person? I'm asking chat. I guess I'm asking chat as well.
Sure. Yeah, chat. What? Yeah. I think that it's fair to say if you want money from the prize pool and you didn't live stream, you have to submit a recording.
Okay.
I don't think that's a stretch because there's money on the line, and I think everyone can agree. Because even people that are competing, they don't want to get cheated themselves. I don't think you're going to get too much pushback.
Let's see. Okay, so if in order to be eligible for the cash money prizes, right?
Yes.
You have to be recording. Is that fair? So people feel like they can at least play and participate, just like they. Nothing has changed on that front, where it's saying like in order to participate, you have to, in order to participate, you have to only have one person streaming. That still is the case, but if you're trying to get cash money, both have to record. That sounds a little bit more fair.
I mean,
dude, if you're getting money, I feel like you should have to record. I mean, I guess that's my bad for not like fine-tune both like the rules, but yeah, I mean, if you're expected to get money, there has to be some level of accountability. For the other players that are playing too, right? Like imagine the guy that comes in 5th place and the 4th and 3rd place guy only has half their team recording. I mean, I'd feel pretty,
sure, pretty
jaded.
You know what we could do too, man? We should make a guide on how to record on absolute potato settings.
Yeah, actually, that'd be a really good idea. Then there's really no excuse, I think that's a great idea.
How to record at 360p 30 frames on a freaking 1982, Mac.
Yeah, that would be a great guide. I like that. I like that idea.
Because you really can, right, record on any computer. Like, are there computers, like even if you're playing on some Intel Core 2 Duo that you played on that back in the day in 2004, they still had like Bandicam and shit back then.
Yeah, but who's the person that's going to review their whole stream? Jane, if it's only 3 or 4 recording submissions for 1st through 4th, it's really not that hard to speed through and just do a bag check and see if they're drinking constantly from level 10 to 20. You can pick those things out. The verification doesn't take that long. I mean, we already verify 1 to 60 runs on like 10x speed. So for this tournament.
Yeah, Tactics has a good point. Yeah, Joanna's speed record run 15 years ago. Yeah, he recorded. That was on a PC from 2006. So yeah.
You know why I think people can't be too mad though? Because they're not actually paying to participate. Like they're paying in terms of their time. That's true. Time is money. But if we took like $10 from everybody and then you make any changes to the rules, they're gonna be like, "Yo, what the fuck? That's not what I paid for." Yeah. But this is free to join, total community, like small. And at the end of the day, it's only $1,000. It's not like so life-changing amount or anything like that. Right. So just to move forward with this, guys, typo 1 in the chat if you like it, 2 if you don't like it. If you're gonna win money from the tournament, you both have to record a stream. If you're gonna win money.
Yeah, I don't see too much pushback or any downsides to that ruling. If anything, I think it validifies our tournaments and provides a better player experience.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's won. I mean, maybe. So then also the other question is, should we make an announcement about that? Like a Discord-wide announcement? Is that worth an @everyone ping? Because @everyone pings, it's like the boy who cried wolf. If you do an @everyone ping and it's not essential information, you're gonna get the you're gonna get the reaction. The laser eye notification reaction. So.
I think a day before the tournament, everybody would appreciate an updated ping on any last, on just a reminder of the rules. Be a little bit more detailed about some rules, such as if you want a chance of the prize pool, you both have to record. Yeah, so on. But yeah, we're coming up to the end of the cast. I feel pretty good about how much we got done. Let's go into Q&A. Does anyone have any Discord improvements? Do you have website improvements that you want to see? I know that our Hall of Legends, we're working on the process of updating people immediately whenever they get verified, getting their character frame updated immediately. But I mean, that's not so much an improvement in the Discord. It's just a matter of more people hitting level 60 and we get more experience with that. Does anyone want a new Discord channel? Do you want a new feature on the website? This is the time to talk about this stuff. Winky?
So,
yeah.
We have merch up on the site now. Brandon made an EU store. He's gonna work on an NA store, but I don't see any like new era fitted type hats. If anybody could make those, I would buy a bunch of those, man. Like, how do we do that? Is that possible to get like a new era fitted hat? I mean, that's a small thing, but the merch is available for EU and NA soon. And then the other thing is we still need more stream assets and more cool shit, guys. Like hype trailers, stream assets. That's like a call to the community. If anybody has the skills to do it, more media, more hype, more stuff to make this whole game mode look more professional. So even if there's little assets for the Discord that would just make the Discord look better, look and feel better, I would really encourage people to start making some shit.
Yeah, Tommy Salami said, not sure if it's off topic, but what about allowing any server for the tournament? We talked about making exceptions possibly for the streamers just so they have a good streaming experience, but we might step on too many toes allowing people. Again, we're playing for money. You have to play within the confines of the rules. I would hate to see people get an edge by playing on a dead server. And is that a general consensus? Maybe we can update that in the rules before the tournament. We can ping that you have to play on these 3 servers, but I'm pretty sure.
So that was one thing we brought up last time. Remember, we brought this up on the last Modcast. Should the big streamers be allowed to play on their own servers so they don't get Omega griefed? And this is exactly why we do the podcast, because you guys were like, yo, fuck that. That's like streamer privilege or whatever.
Right.
And I honestly wasn't thinking about it like that before, but it makes sense. So where we're at right now is that everybody has to just take the L and play on the same servers. There's no, even if it's Asmongold, like someone at that size though, even at Stay Safe size, he may not be able to like have a good time playing the tournament. We'll have to see. I sure hope he does. I sure hope he's able to level and play and actually be able to have fun in the hardcore community. But it's kind of just gotta play on the same server. So.
Yeah, Mad Robato's talking about post level 60 hardcore content. There hasn't been a lot of discussion about it, Mad, and maybe Nomnom, you can put some input on this, but there's not enough incentive to talk about it right now. There's only 22 level 60s. I know it'd be great from a viewership experience, but it's hard to get really excited about developing level 60 content whenever we're trying to refine the 1 to 60 challenge, the meat of the challenge. I'm not too motivated about it. Maybe you are, Nom.
It comes up quite a bit. I personally have played on one of my 60s. I've run a few dungeons. Like I bought my epic mount. Like I've done just some things just in downtime. I've died on my 60 mage, but I've also group of multi-lifers. So this is a character I won't continue into TBC. I don't know. I don't know what people want to see. I guess at the end of the day, like I honestly don't. There's not enough people out there. If there's something that the community like wants to see out of the 60s, like I would be down for it, but I have no clue what people want, and I think it makes it hard for any of us to know what we want to do with these characters. I think a lot of us just want to continue getting more 60s, you know what I mean, or doing some of these challenges, 2-man, 3-man dungeon, all this stuff. So yeah, I guess that's where I'm at.
I think this would be valuable a couple days before the actual tournament. Do like a utility stream or a utility video, and we say like, okay, yo, greetings everybody who's going to participate in the tournament in a couple days. Welcome. This is how it's going to run come day of. This is how you get in touch with the mod day of if you have a problem, so you can fix the problem. We also recommend everybody stream with a 45-second stream delay, right? If you really are trying to assure yourself the highest quality experience and you're trying to really compete, we highly recommend 45-second, 1-minute stream delay, whatever it takes, so that even if people are trying to grief you for whatever reason, That's a lot of time. 45 seconds is a lot of time, especially for like a speed runner. That's like the world, you know. Tommy Slime would probably delete his character if he was 45 seconds behind, you know. So, and other stuff too, like how to do this, how to do that, how to record in 360p, that potato thing I was talking about a second ago. Basically like a video dedicated to the tournament players, the competitors, and how they can set themselves up for success.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Oh, can you hide character's name on stream somehow? Yeah, you probably could. You just have to set up a UI for it. Yeah, it's another thing you could do too. You could hide your character name. Yup.
Any other Discord improvements you guys want to see? Just while we're all here and thinking about it, we can change it real quick. A couple people have talked about looking for group. I don't want to. I'm tentative. Maybe the Discord does need to be cleaned up a little bit. Maybe we need to relook at some of the channels that don't get used as often, or maybe they can get merged together. Something that I've heard in the past is people want to see specific duo. They want more than the duo channel that we have right now. They want region specific duo, because it's inevitable. I mean, from my perspective, I would think he would submit into that duo. You know, this is the server that I play on. This is obviously I'm NA or EU or Oceanic. Some people just go in there and say Paladin looking for group, and they give no information. It's I mean, it's got to be infuriating from a user point of view. Maybe we need specific duo finding channels. I don't know, but at the same time, I don't want to clutter the Discord with a million different channels that end up not getting used, and it's a hard call.
You know, it's so easy for a Discord to go dead, man. Like the people watching right now are pretty much the most passionate people about hardcore. About 150 of you guys. That's you know, there's probably about 150 who really care about the game mode, and you know, I think all of us would really appreciate it if you guys could just be active in the Discord. Just post a meme in there or something. Just say what's up. Keep the pulse going on it, right? Because it's so easy for Discords to just die and fizzle out into nothingness, right? So like, just gotta keep it alive, right?
Yeah.
Keep posting stuff, death clips, react to everything, do whatever you can.
Tommy's making one last point, and we might wrap it up with this. But even if you were to hide the name, people can just /who you. We're talking about the tournament. There's no 100% safeguard way to go about it, except hide your server at the start and choose any where the most likely grief would potentially come is at a level 1 healers. But anyways, maybe if this is like a colossal failure, this dual leveling tournament, we can possibly go into any realm option. Yeah, and that might be the only way.
At the end of the day, we're not charging anybody any money, right? So the worst that can happen is their time gets wasted, and the worst thing that can happen is that, you know, big streamers have a bad time and they pull the plug and they say, fuck this is not for me. And we may have to take those L's, man, and then redeem ourselves in their eyes later down the road. But we just got to do our absolute best. You know, you can't appeal to everybody. You can't please everyone, right? But put our best foot forward at this. And then if we run into that situation where there's a lot of griefing, we can course correct for the next one, and people will probably be less likely to say, oh, streamer privilege or this privilege, if it applies to everybody and everybody can play on their own server and hide their own name and everything like that. One of the main reasons why it's interesting to have everyone on the same server is, one, from a tracking perspective on the leaderboards. We have, you know, a 3-man production team this time around, which would be the first time we've had this. The last cups, it was just the casters were also doing the production. That's why it was so low budget. But you know, we have Navigale and Egregious, you know, working full time on it during the event, and they're going to set up guilds for people. So like if you're competing in a tournament, at some point you just whisper them. It doesn't have to be right away. It could be at level 10, doesn't matter. You get invited to the guild, and that's how they're going to track the leaderboard. The people in the guild, they're going to see the name, level, rank, and they're going to be updating this leaderboard in real time for everybody to take a look at. 2, it looks really nice visually. It creates a really nice experience when you see the starting zones all popping again like it's a fresh server. But those are the main reasons.
Yeah, people want like what's the difference between highlight reel and hardcore videos channel? It's the idea was you have highlight reel clips of your hardcore run, and hardcore videos were like video guides that people made or just overview of hardcore. That was the distinction between the two. And then like a close call media share, in addition to the death clip. I like the idea of it, but close calls would just go under highlight reels. Again, we're just thinking about trying to keep the Discord as compact as possible, because whenever new people come in, you want it to be a good viewership experience. You don't want to see 30,000 channels, but if we could somehow improve the Discord server at all, I like the ideas and appreciate everybody's input on this.
Yeah, man. If we could make it more gamified somehow and give people, I put this bot in where you level up the more you engage, but at the end of the day, it doesn't feel that great if you level up. You know, if there'd be some way to just make there an incentive to be active in the Discord, you know,
Right.
or so somebody said something really big brain one time. They were saying that, like if you get to level 20 verified, level 30, 40, 50, 60, there would be little different character portraits you could put around your character or a different camera frame that you would get, you know, just to give people something in between hitting the big 602. I don't know.
Right.
Anything to make it more fun and feel like there's something to work for. We need pinned comments on the channels to describe the content for them. That's a good idea too. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's actually a really good idea. I'll write that one down.
Yeah,
All right.
man.
It looks like we're wrapping up with the Modcast. Guys, thanks for coming. Nom, you got any last thoughts?
No, man. Yeah, it was great. Thanks for
That's
having
good.
me again. I think we got a lot of good stuff out there. So,
Yeah, in the future. So this was episode number 3, and I think we're gonna have one more with the 3 of us. And this we truly want it to be a Modcast, and so we're gonna cycle through more mods. We're not gonna be able to show up every single week. We definitely want this to be a living, breathing community. The F's in Chat podcast that Winkypotamus made, he's gonna have people cycle through there. I'm excited to see where the hardcore community is going, guys. Thanks for showing up and giving us your time and trying to make the community better. And we'll see y'all again next week. But
Sounds good. Spread the word, guys. Try to get it out there. Hit up your old friends. You know, get them involved. And if you guys have anything that, like any videos, funny clips, memes, anything, any kind of funny or entertaining media, we could use it for the cup. We could, you know, that's our opportunity. We're gonna have a long stretch of time, you know, 10-hour stream or whatever. Or we'll have plenty of downtime to pull stuff up. So, and if you guys can whip up an infographic, anything, would really help us, because what you see is what you get.
all right, man. Sounds good. Yeah, Kargoz, are we gonna duo? You want to take a break, or what are you doing?
Maybe like a 5-minute break, but I'll jump on here in a second if you can just kill some time for a second.
Yeah.